Chapter 5. Love Without Enemies. I walk through life without a list of enemies. Not because I've never been wronged, but because I made a decision early on. I will not carry hate. I won't let someone else's darkness invade my heart. I've learned that the weight of resentment is far too heavy to carry, and I'm not willing to burden myself with it. It was a lesson I learned not through theory, but through lived experience. People often think of love as something that requires reciprocity or that it must be earned. But love, when it's pure and unconditional, doesn't need anything in return. It simply is. I remember telling a friend once, "If you make me your enemy, I'll still love you like a friend. If you wrong me or gossip about me, I'll simply excuse myself from your life." I said it with such calm conviction that he went silent. He knew I wasn't just speaking words. I meant it. It wasn't a declaration of defiance or challenge, but one of personal peace and clarity. I wasn't going to fight battles that only served to drain my spirit. Over time, I came to realize that this way of living confuses people. It can leave them uncertain, unsure of how to respond. I don't chase friendships. I don't beg for understanding. I don't cling to people or circumstances that are toxic. I'm not here to prove my worth to anyone. I treat everyone the same whether they are friends, family, or strangers with respect, openness, and love. I believe love is something that flows naturally from the heart, and if it's real, it doesn't need conditions to thrive. When someone crosses a line, I don't fight back. I don't shout. I don't retaliate. Instead, I step away. And if they choose to return, I welcome them again, without question. No conditions. No grudges. That doesn't mean I'm weak. Quite the opposite. It takes incredible strength to love without demanding anything in return. It takes even more strength to walk away from situations or people who no longer serve your peace. The world tells us to clap back when someone wrongs us, to expose betrayal for all to see, and to guard our hearts so tightly that we let no one in. But I've learned a different lesson, a deeper lesson. I've learned that love is a shield. Love, when genuine, shields us from the external forces that try to disrupt our inner peace. It creates a buffer, allowing us to navigate through life with grace and kindness, even when others are throwing their negativity our way. The more we love, the stronger the shield becomes. It doesn't require us to fight, but to stand firm in our ability to radiate compassion. This shield doesn't just protect us from others, it protects us from our own destructive emotions, fear, resentment, bitterness that could erode our peace. Silence is a language. Silence isn't the absence of communication, it's a profound form of speaking without words. Silence can carry weight, offering the gift of space for reflection. When I remain silent in the face of aggression, it speaks volumes. It says that I will not engage in futile back and forth that serve no purpose. It speaks of my commitment to preserving my peace over my pride. It says I have already made my point through my actions, and I will not stoop to a lower level by reacting impulsively. Distance can be healing. There is healing in space. Sometimes, The best way to mend a relationship or situation is not by forcing proximity or immediate resolution, but by giving time for wounds to heal. Distance allows us to regain clarity, to understand the situation from a new perspective, and to let our hearts recalibrate. Sometimes we need to walk away, not because we don't care, but because it's the best way to care for ourselves and the other person. Forgiveness is freedom. Forgiveness isn't just for the other person, it's for ourselves. Holding on to grudges and resentments keeps us bound to the past. But when we forgive, we release the chains that bind us to hurt and betrayal. Forgiveness allows us to move forward, free from the weight of what was. It doesn't mean we forget, but we choose not to let the past dictate our future. In forgiveness, we reclaim our power and our peace. We no longer give the wrongdoer the authority to control our emotions. There's a quiet power in walking away without slamming the door. People misread that power. They think silence means indifference or weakness. But silence rooted in love speaks louder than any angry outburst ever could. It says, I choose peace over proving a point. It says, I choose to protect my heart rather than engage in negativity. It speaks volumes to those who are willing to listen. This way of loving unprovoked, unshaken, isn't ordinary. It's spiritual authority. It transcends the conventional way of thinking that love must always be reciprocated, that we must always fight for what's rightfully ours. It's a deeper understanding that love doesn't require anything in return. It simply exists, purely and unconditionally. It doesn't demand answers, doesn't ask for acknowledgement, it just is. I've learned that I don't need to label people as friends to show them love. I have brothers, sisters, connections, and community. Labels don't define love. Love is what binds us together, regardless of titles or expectations. The beauty of it is that it doesn't have to be explained or defended. It simply exists, flowing freely and unapologetically. Gossip doesn't appeal to me. I'm not interested in fueling drama or engaging in conversations that tear others down. Conflict doesn't attract me either, not because I'm perfect, but because I know the damage bitterness can do to the soul. I've seen how it poisons the peace we've worked so hard to cultivate. Bitterness builds walls around our hearts, and I've fought too long and too hard to keep my peace intact to let anyone take it from me. That doesn't mean I don't get hurt. Of course, I do. I'm human. But I've trained myself to release pain before it settles too deep inside me. I give it to God. I let it go. I don't let pain take up permanent residence in my heart. Holding on to it only gives it power. I don't want to give pain that power. Instead, I choose to move forward. And the beauty of letting go is that it frees up space for new experiences, new growth, and new love to enter my life. Some people won't understand your heart. They won't understand why you choose peace over conflict, love over bitterness, or forgiveness over anger. That's because they've never healed their own hearts. They don't recognize the power that forgiveness holds, or the freedom that comes from releasing grudges. They've never felt the peace that comes from walking away from toxic situations without burning bridges. I've come to accept that this is part of my calling. In a world full of fighters, I choose to be a forgiver. In a world hungry for power, I choose peace. I don't chase after battles or accolades. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. I just need to live authentically, to love without conditions, and to walk my path with grace. That's my calling, and I will answer it every day. I want to be one of the few who understands that true power lies in love. That the deepest form of strength is not in confrontation, but in the ability to forgive, to rise above the noise, and to keep moving forward with an open heart. In a world that constantly tries to push us into conflict, I choose to shine brighter instead. I choose love. I choose peace. And that, more than anything, is the most powerful statement I can make. Because carrying resentment is like carrying a heavy burden that weighs us down, affecting every aspect of our lives. It's a weight that presses on our chest, making it hard to breathe, hard to think, and hard to live. Resentment can manifest in many ways as anxiety that keeps us up at night, as depression that drains our energy, or even as physical health issues that plague our bodies. But what's the alternative? Letting go. Forgiveness is not just a feeling, it's a choice. It's a decision to release the hold that resentment has on us, to let go of the need for revenge or justice, and to move forward with our lives. When we choose to forgive, we open ourselves up to healing. We allow ourselves to be free from the chains of bitterness and anger. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or condoning. It means releasing the emotional charge associated with the hurt. It means choosing peace over conflict, love over hate. And in that choice, we find freedom. As we hold on to resentment, we give it power over our lives. We allow it to dictate our emotions, our actions, and our relationships. But when we choose to forgive, we take back control. We reclaim our power and our peace. Forgiveness is a process, not a destination. It's a journey that requires patience, empathy, and compassion. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. When we forgive, we create space for healing, for growth, and for new experiences. We open ourselves up to the possibility of reconciliation, of rebuilding relationships, and of finding closure. Love is a powerful shield that protects us from the negativity and hurt that life can bring. It's a buffer that absorbs the impact of external forces, allowing us to navigate challenging situations with greater ease and resilience. When we choose to love, we empower ourselves to respond to difficult situations in a more positive way. We create a sense of safety and security that allows us to be more open, more vulnerable, and more receptive to the world around us. Love is not just a feeling, it's a choice. It's a decision to prioritize the well-being and happiness of ourselves and others. When we choose to love, we choose to live. Love as a shield doesn't mean we're immune to hurt or pain. It means we're better equipped to handle it. We're more resilient, more adaptable, and more compassionate. We're able to see the humanity in others, even when they've wronged us. We're able to respond with empathy and understanding, rather than anger and aggression. Love as a shield allows us to navigate the complexities of life with greater ease and confidence. It gives us the courage to be vulnerable, to take risks, and to pursue our passions and dreams. Silence is a powerful tool that can be used in many ways. It can be a sign of strength, a sign of weakness, or a sign of wisdom. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful response we can give. It can be a way of showing respect, of showing empathy, or of showing understanding. Silence can also be a way of creating space, of giving ourselves and others room to breathe and reflect. When we use silence effectively, we can create a sense of calm and clarity that allows us to navigate challenging situations with greater ease. Silence can be especially powerful in conflict situations. When we're faced with aggression or anger, our natural tendency may be to respond with aggression or anger. But silence can be a more effective response. By choosing not to engage, we can create space for reflection and calm. We can allow the other person to express themselves without interruption or judgment. We can show that we're not interested in escalating the conflict, but rather in finding a resolution. Sometimes, distance is necessary for healing. Whether it's physical distance or emotional distance, creating space between ourselves and a challenging situation can be incredibly beneficial. Distance allows us to reflect, to recharge, and to gain new perspectives. It gives us the opportunity to process our emotions, to work through our challenges, and to come back stronger and wiser. When we're too close to a situation, it can be hard to see things clearly. Distance helps us gain clarity and perspective. Distance can also be a sign of self-care. When we prioritize our own well-being, we recognize that we can't pour from an empty cup. We need to take care of ourselves to nurture our minds, bodies, and spirits. Distance can be a way of doing that, of creating space for self-reflection and self-care. By taking a step back, we can recharge and refocus, coming back to the situation with renewed energy and clarity. As forgiveness is a powerful act that can set us free. When we choose to forgive, we release the hold that resentment has on us. We create space for healing, for growth, and for unconditional love as a choice. It's a decision to love without expecting anything in return. It's a commitment to prioritize the well-being and happiness of others, even when it's challenging. When we choose to love unconditionally, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. We create space for healing, for growth, and for connection. Unconditional love doesn't mean we tolerate abuse or toxicity. It means we love with boundaries, with self-respect, and with compassion. We recognize that everyone deserves love and kindness, regardless of their actions or behavior. We choose to love without condition, without expectation, and without attachment to specific outcomes. Forgiveness is a liberating experience. When we choose to forgive, we release the hold that resentment has on us. We create space for healing, for growth, and for new experiences. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or condoning. It means releasing the emotional charge associated with the hurt. It means choosing peace over conflict, love over hate. When we forgive, we take back control. We reclaim our power and our peace. Forgiveness is a process, not a destination. It's a journey that requires patience, empathy, and compassion. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. When we forgive, we create space for reconciliation, for rebuilding relationships, and for finding closure. Vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. When we're vulnerable, we're open, honest, and authentic. We're willing to take risks, to be hurt, and to be rejected. Vulnerability allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, to build meaningful relationships, and to experience true intimacy. When we're vulnerable, we're not weak, we're strong. We're willing to be ourselves, without pretenses or masks. We're willing to take the risk of being hurt, knowing that it's worth it for the potential rewards. Vulnerability is a choice, and it's a choice that requires courage, resilience, and trust.